I've been here since July. I work with Care2travel here, which is the local company that partners with IBHQ. While I was here, we actually started a compost program. And by the way, I'm going to throw this in. There's a certificate over here. Roger, who is making the film, he's the producer, who's you'll see a little certificate here where we won first place on our efforts in the city. The first thing that is important in the apartment is so inside the accommodation, and both accommodations have one of these collection bins. And so this is, we're collecting all the nitrogen, a little bit of carbon with the coffee grounds, the tea, and the eggs, because that is carbon versus nitrogen. But we collect it in here, so this is where you'll throw your scraps. Right up here you'll see a little poster that tells you kind of what to put in it and what not to put in it. And some of you agriculture people will kind of disagree with the list, and it's okay. You know, once I leave, I can't really dictate what you're going to put in. I was trying to attract some very specific worms out there in the compost bin that you'll see shortly. And so I wanted to put only produce items in there that worms like for now, just to attract the worms. And so once this is like kind of halfway full to 3/4 full, I've been emptying about every 2 weeks because we've had to stir the bin anyway about every 2 weeks. But if you'll, Roger will do a close-up, you can see where we've been collecting some stuff, and we're going to go out today even though it's low, and we're going to dump it. And then the important thing is, once this is dumped, please make sure it's always cleaned thoroughly so that it doesn't create a smell. There's a lot of people that live in these accommodations, and we don't want any kind of rotten smell because that would be just really unattractive, right? So we're going to go outside now, and both apartments, like I said, have these collection bins. We're going to go outside now, and we're going to show you where the actual pile is that we need to turn. All right, thanks. Okay, so welcome again. Now we're actually over in the other apartment, and for the most part, this is the guy's apartment dwelling, but it's completely shut down because we don't have enough men to utilize all the power, and it's just such a waste of energy anyway. But I just wanted to show you that here is the bin. Here's the collection bin for the guy's apartment, and I think that they usually keep it right up here above the sink. Doesn't really matter. This is also a good location down here. And so we had cleaned it, we made sure it was cleaned, and we set it upside down to make sure that it dried properly. Over here, we wanted to throw this in since we were making a video, but what you see over here, Peter and I came over and added some shelving, and what we're starting over here is a seeding place for the greenhouse, the future greenhouse that's going to go up in the back terrace area. And so as you can see, we're trying to be as sustainable as we possibly can, and we've been saving plastic bottles and toilet paper rolls, because you see this is an average toilet paper roll, and now it's going to be a little seed pot. So you just cut it and fold it up under, and it becomes a little seed pot, and then you can actually bury this out in the garden, and it will biodegrade in the garden. The plastic, whoever does the seeding will have to just drill the holes in them, and these will be ready to start putting seeds in, start with low soil and build up. But we've been collecting items that we can reuse, repurpose actually, in the spirit of the 3 R's, for the sustainable greenhouse that we're going to be putting up soon. Thanks. Well, this is part 3 of the whole compost video that Roger is the producer of. See, now he can put producer on his resume because he's producing this video. So we're going up the hill. We're just in the backyard of the accommodation. So we have to come up this hill, and you can already see this. Yeah, I know, it's a little rough, but this was built by hand, by the way, this compost bin. And the wood has not been treated with any chemicals. We actually sealed the wood with beeswax and a little vegetable oil, so there's no chemical leaching into our compost that we're building here. So, if I can get the gate unlatched, I can actually show you. Okay, ordinarily it's not this hard. What we're doing. So the cover right now is just because it's the dead of winter and the temperatures are getting down to, you know, like 0, 24. And we're just trying to hold some of the necessary heat in when we're not turning. And you can even see the frost on the plastic. So I'm going to peel off this plastic. And what you're going to do when you're emptying the bins And by the way, just because the bin's not full, during the winter, try to turn this pile about once every 8 or 9 days, if you don't mind. That'll keep this stuff circulated, and it'll keep stuff on the bottom from rotting. And I've kept this pitchfork out here. And so what you see here is just a combination of carbon and nitrogen. And by the way, I was nitrogen poor because there's not a lot of volunteers and we didn't have a lot of food waste, which is a good thing, by the way. But this is chicken shit. Oops, chicken manure. Anyway, our kind neighbor helped me to get some chicken manure out of his chicken pen back here. And that's going to give us some awesome hot nitrogen, right? That'll keep this pile going. And my pile is slightly frozen. As you can see, I'm struggling to turn it. But what you're just going to want to do is just come back here, you know, like I said, about every 8 or 9 days, and just kind of give it a healthy turn. And you want to go from the bottom and bring stuff up to the top, right? And that nitrogen, that nice manure, is going to mix in there really good. Actually, I should have done this last week. And so hopefully, whatever ag person you are, you'll have some good shoulder strength. So you can keep this pile turned. Turn the other side a little bit. Oh, when you see stuff like this, take it out. I don't know how this got in there. I'll pick that up and put it in the trash soon. All right, so you get the message. If you have any questions, I think I put some YouTube sites on the documents for the Care2Travel office. Refer to them, or just YouTube it yourself. Thanks.